questions. So, Geshe-la, on behalf of Tibet House and our director and representative, Mr. Jigme Tsering, I'd like to welcome you and also thank you for this one more time you're joining us. And I'd like to invite you to start your lecture.
Okay, thank you, Genjimela, the representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Brazil, Tibet House, Brazil, and Valentin Conde for your kind introduction, and to all the participants. And today, the topic is discovering the luminosity of one's own mind, the ultimate treasure. It's a very important topic, and the all of us, whether you are a believer or non-believer, or whether you are Buddhist, non-Buddhist, whether you're Buddhist, non-Buddhist, this topic about the luminosity of one's own mind. So now the point is that whatever life challenges that we are going through, that is one thing. Meanwhile, just explore the other levels of the realities, like who you are. This is so important. And when we explore, first what we see is that in this world, for example, say, oh, this person's good, my father is good, my mom is good, my friend is good, my brother is good, but this person not good, that person's not good. So we always describe the things on the basis of the feelings, our feelings of happiness, not the unhappiness related to the outside world, and with respect to yourself. Um, so the point is that we see that we describe the world, we see the world, we describe the world as though like the world itself. In actuality, we are describing that on the basis of how we see. I'm just wondering that each one of us, I'm sure each one of us, we had some experience when I was younger. The in my the During my school days as a young boy, then in the classroom we have boys, girls. It's a mixture. It's a co-ed. Boys, girls, all mixed up there. And in fact, I was not in those days. I was not as talkative, not as the say extrovert, not too extrovert. And I could see that there's always some what do you call that, like a challenge, like a pressure, This is what the I used to feel, and then because of which I could, when I look at the world, the environment around me, I see that as something. Oh, this is little the okay. This is a little gloomy, and then okay, the world is a little gloomy. But the one good thing, and I'm sure most of you had the same experience, particularly when you feel a little depressed, and then you look at the world around you, your house, for example, you look at the mobile, even the mobile also seems to be a little gloomy, and then maybe the decoration flower there also seems to be a little gloomy. Everything's a little gloomy. And then the good thing that I remember of myself was that they sometimes then I meet with some of the boys, who are more competent, who are more the confident. When I see them, then I could see that with respect to them, the world is very different. I'm very happy to say that this was how I was able to get into the shoes of somebody to see the world from their lens of the perception. So it takes me to a great scholar saint, incredibly brilliant genius, a genius in scholarly the intellectual skills, and a highly realized teacher by the name Arya Nagarjuna. Arya Nagarjuna, first century AD. So what he said was that, in fact, that would be wonderful if you can study his text. There's a short text by him known as In Praise of Dharmadhatu, in praise of the ultimate expense, ultimate treasure, in praise of the ultimate treasure. This is a book. It's not a big book, it's a short text. If you can study this, you can see what is inside you, the treasure inside you, which is an incredibly precious one. And this reminds me of that, a passage from there, which I'm going to recite to you now. Okay, so there, what he said was that imagine there is a beggar. There's a beggar, and underneath his ground, a very simple hut, extremely simple hut, and underneath the ground, there's a massive treasure. As long as the beggar does not discover the presence of the treasure underneath his ground, he remains a beggar. The moment he discovers this treasure, he is no more a beggar. So it's just say whether he's beggar or not, that is determined by the cover of the treasure. So with the cover of the treasure, you remain a beggar. You remove the cover, and then you are perhaps the richest person in Brazil. So taking this analogy, when say like me and each one of you, when we have the experience of the whole world is so gloomy, hopeless, it is like the beggar not discovering the treasure underneath and seeing the place as so poor and the hut is so simple, it can hardly even stop the rain. You feel yourself so desperate, so poor. And whereas and they say when you see somebody else who's so energetic, then you see that okay, everything's so nice for this person. Or when you discover your own treasure inside, you see the world is very different. This is like the beggar removing the earth and saw the treasure there, such a joy. Oh yeah, from the so what the analogy that I've given now, this is like just to encourage us. But so this analogy taken into a deeper analogy or example, we see that okay, now I see it makes sense. Okay, so this example that I'll give is, let's say that in Brazil, I'm sure it must be very hot in summer. Conte, in summer, the peak of heat, what's the temperature like?
Mm, it depends because Brazil is quite big. But if you go to the north, which is
Your
the
place,
hottest,
your place.
oh, my place, Sao Paulo is not that hot, but in the summer we can reach around 30 tops degrees, like Celsius degrees, like 37, 38, something like this.
Mhm,
Something like this.
Okay,
It can be pretty uncomfortable.
okay. In other places,
Wow, it goes like it tops 40 Celsius degrees.
okay. So let's say that we are all in the north of Brazil, at the peak of the summer, like 47 degrees centigrade. And we all attended the class, and then there's a power cut there. We're all sweating, and the nothing. You feel we're all feeling very thirsty, and suddenly somebody brings the glass of water and tell me the Valentin Conde, any river close by, close to your
Oh,
place, the most unclean river.
close to my place, there's a very, very unclean river, very
What is,
polluted one.
what is it? Okay, tell me one river which is very popular in the Brazil.
A very polluted river.
No, any river which is very popular, which everybody knows.
Oh, okay. San Francisco.
Okay, San Francisco River. The can you drink the water directly?
Some parts yes, some parts no.
Okay. What about the one that is in your place?
Actually, San Francisco River doesn't go through my place. It's in the north.
So what is that river next to your place which is not clean?
Chiete.
Chiete. Okay, let's say
Chiete.
that.
Very
Okay,
polluted.
okay, let's say that we're all next to Chiete River, and it's so hot, extremely hot, and we're all very thirsty. And then somebody brings a glass of water from Chiete River, and then the person offers you this water. You like to drink it? For sure, no. Why not? Because it's very dirty. Okay, I'm sure all of us we can agree with this. Now the next point is that what I do is that I subject this water, glass of water from Chiete River, to the purification process, like reverse osmosis, ultrafiltration, and so forth. And then the very clean water comes out of that. Very clean water comes out of that. Now I ask you, do you like to drink it? Everybody will rush to say that yes, I like to drink it. Okay, my question. So before we proceed further, I have a question to you. So my question to you is that it was the same glass of water. Before I subjected this to the purification process, you declined to accept to drink it. And after the purification process, the same glass of water, you're crazy to drink it. So why? Why you want to drink it after the purification? Of course, it's clean. My question to you is, where did this clean water come from? From where? From Chite River or from elsewhere? From Mount Kailash? From where? Answer is from Chite River. So the point is that the how come that the same glass of water at one point you cannot drink it and the next moment you want to drink it? Why? So the difference is the purity. That pure water came from where? This is my question to you. Okay. The So all of you, I expect all of you to give the answer mentally. And okay. So let me give another example. That is that the let's say that I have a statue of Jesus Christ made of made of clay, made of clay. And somebody offered that to me. I said, no, I want a golden statue of Jesus Christ. Golden statue. I'm keen on golden statue. Why do you make Jesus Christ is so precious? Why do you make this out of clay? Why don't you make a golden made of gold? I want a made of gold. So what you do is that you try to remove the clay. As you remove the clay, then the statue disappears. Whereas with the dirty water, Chite River, dirty water, the dirty water, remove the dirt, instead of the water disappearing, water becomes very clean. With the clay, the statue disappears. Instead of the statue becoming gold statue, the statue disappears. Now, my final question to you is why, in the case of the Chite River water, the glass of water from there, as you remove the dirt, why the pure water comes out? And why, in the case of the clay statue, removing the clay, removing the mud, remove the dust, instead of it becoming gold, why the statue disappeared? Why in the case of water, why the water did not disappear? Instead, the water becomes clean. Why? So what is the difference between these two? This is my question to all the participants. Okay, so most of you, I'm sure, in one way or the other, you'll give me the answer that with the water, the true nature of water is clean. The true nature of water is clean. You're only removing the dirt, superficial dirt. Then the true nature being clean, the true nature of the water, which is purity, the purity, it comes out. Whereas with the clay, the true nature of the clay is not gold. So when you remove the clay, the true nature of the clay is clay. So you remove the clay, then the material disappears, the statue disappears. So that's the reason. I'm sure this is the answer that you're going to give me. And if this is how you give an answer, Luckily, from this answer, we get a realization that even your mind is also not like the clay statue. It is like the chite water. Chite water, however dirty the water is, the true nature of the water is so pure. You don't have to bring this purity from Mount Kailash. Remove the dirt, and the purity comes out. That purity is absolutely pure. It is there right from the beginning. And your mind, the true nature of your mind, is so pure. Okay, so we see that the same. Then with this, we said, okay, with the water, that's very true. The Chite River water, however dirty that is, just remove the dirt, and the pure water comes out. You don't have to add the water, bring the pure water from anywhere else. Likewise, my mind is also, it seems so dirty, it seems so defiled, but the true nature, if I remove the dirt, then my mind becomes so pure. That is known as the luminosity of one's own mind. So the Chite River water is also H2O mixed with the dirt. And then here in Delhi, the Delhi water river, the what is it, the Yamuna River, is also H2O mixed with dirt. But H2O wise, there's no difference. Brazil H2O and India H2O and Tibet H2O and whatever, there's no difference. It's just H2O. That is so pure. Likewise, Israel mind, Tibetan mind, Indian mind, Japanese mind, the true nature, there's no difference. The girl's mind, a male's mind, or the female's mind, the true nature, there's no difference. So gender inequality is totally baseless and totally backward thinking. Gender discrimination, racial discrimination, they're all totally baseless and the outdated, backward thinking. So if you discover that treasure inside, that treasure, the purity, which is just same everywhere, the true nature. Let us not say that I'm pure. We say that my true nature is pure. I'm not pure. I have limitations. I have the drawbacks, but my true nature, there's no the limitations. There's no drawback. This is so pure. So this true nature, everyone has the same true nature. Whether you're Christian, or whether you're Buddhist, or whether you're a non-believer, Hindu, Muslim, Jains, Sikhs, Jews, it doesn't matter. Non-believers, everyone has the exact same true nature, which is luminous and so beautiful, the presence of which, the experience of which will make you feel totally fearless and total the radiance of joy. Okay, now with this, let's say that we are watching a movie. We are watching a movie in a movie theater, classical movie theater, meaning that where we are watching the movie on the screen, or the movie is coming from the projector behind you. So we don't actually, the movie is coming from the projector, but we don't look at the projector. We look at the screen. The screen is not showing you the movie. Movie is shown by the projector, but we all look at the screen. So likewise, actually, what you are seeing on the screen is all coming from the projector. Likewise, actually, what is coming from what you are seeing all around, they're all coming from your mind. Your mind is like the projector, and what you're seeing, they're all like the movie being projected on the screen. Okay, now if you think of this projector, we see that the projector and what it projects on the screen. Some are blue, green, beautiful flowers, garden. Some are like wars. So what makes all these differences on the screen? How is that coming about? So of course they're all coming from the projector, but the projector, where we see that there are two things. One is the light, one is the main source of the light, and then see immediately before the light there's a film. So then this light is projected on the screen through the film. And then you see all the, some as wars, some as beautiful gardens, and the beautiful house, beautiful people, and so forth. And but actually, the actual source, the light, is evenly there. There's no difference. As some is beautiful, some is the war scary. No, there's no difference there. But this film that makes that affects the light to screen something different on the projector. So what we are seeing is the movie there on the screen of the COVID-19, the movie of the COVID-19. Then we feel scared. We're all locked down. We cannot go out. And then all these teachings should happen online, not in person. Okay, so all these things are like the what is happening on the movie. So this movie is projected not from the screen, from the projector of our own mind. And within the mind, there are two. One is the actual source of light, which is so beautiful, so beautiful. But then there's a film there, the film which makes all differences. So that film is the dirt. It's the dirt which made all this good, bad, all these things. And actually, the light per se is so beautiful. It's so evenly beautiful. Okay. Um, with this, what we come to learn is that the true nature of the mind is luminous. Luminous, luminous like the projector, the original version of the projector, which is a very seamlessly, evenly distributed, beautiful light. This is the true nature of mind. When that is affected by the film of our mental dirts, then we see all the scary things, undesirable things, and then we feel unsafe, we feel unhappy, we feel the world as gloomy. So this is what is happening, which means that we are looking outside. We are not looking at the, the, the projector. We're looking at the screen. Looking at the screen, we see that everything is so uneven. COVID-19, all these wars happening, all these things are what we're seeing. And if you see the inside, the true source of light of the projector, we said it's so beautiful. Your mind, which experiences, you are actually seeing in the movie, and the movie is not coming from the screen, but we see them as coming from the screen. This is what makes you so excited, or it makes you so unhappy, and a very sad ending. There's a tremendous unhappiness there. Actually, there's nothing there from there. It's all coming from the projector. So if you know that it's all coming from the projector, and the projector is actually in your hand, so then we see that it is under your control. If you see that everything is under your control, your fear dissolves. The fear is when you see things under somebody else's control and you don't have the freedom. That is the fear. So when you see that it's projected by my own mind, the fear dissolves. And with this, if you let this mind, true nature of mind, come out, the light, luminosity, come out fully, it flows so freely everywhere. There's no obstruction there. Without obstruction, you feel the ease, greatest of the ease. This is known as the ultimate happiness, ultimate fearlessness, and ultimate happiness. This is what everybody's seeking, and this all happens through discovering that everything is actually projected by our own mind, which is actually, in actuality, it is the luminous in nature. Okay, now with this, I'm sure that many of you will come with, say, the uncontrolled questions. And two most common questions, I'll bring this up. One question that you can come up with is that, but even if what you said is that, okay, it's all projected by your mind, but in real life, all the COVID-19 is real. Whether you say that it's coming from a mind, not mind, it is there. And if you contract it, you will die. You'll die in case if you don't get a proper treatment, you will die. Or without the ventilation, so many people died to this COVID-19, unfortunately. So these are all the real experiences. How do you negotiate or reconcile this with your concept, the concept that you're explaining? This is one question. Number two is that, okay, this is amazing. Yeah, so if I discover my true nature, say just movies projected there, we believe the movie is coming from the screen, and then the fear arises. Whereas if you know that the movie is coming from the projector, seeing the screen, you will not be scared. That's amazing. But how can I discover that the move is coming from the projector? Projector like your own mind? This is the second question. Of the two, what I will do is that I will deal with the second question first, and then the first question, we can leave it open to the audience, and I'll invite questions from the audience. This is how we'll proceed. So for this question, as to how can I realize this, that everything is coming from the projector like my own mind. In other words, what are you saying is that how can I remove my mental dirt? So the purity, the pure water of Chite River, from there the pure water, how can we make it come out? How can we remove the dirt? This is your question. So for that, on the Arya Nagarjuna, the same great teacher, the first century AD, what he said was that our mind is like a fireproof cloth, fireproof cloth, fireproof cloth. And if the cloth is dirty, the best thing is just put the cloth in the fire. The fire will burn the dirt, and it will not burn, it will keep the cloth intact. So, likewise, we subject this mind to the wisdom, the fire of the wisdom, and the fire of wisdom will burn the mental dirt, and the mind will remain intact. So, when the dirts are all removed, mental defilements are all burned, then only the mind is left with this pure form. That is the luminosity of the mind. Okay, so some of you will again think that what you said is again example about the cloth. That's good example, but in real life, how can we really remove the mental dirt so that the pure nature, luminosity of the mind comes out? This could be a question. So this is going to be touched in the next lecture. The six perfections, the six practices to cleanse your mind, so that luminosity of your mind, the true nature, which is so beautiful, will come out, where you will be free from all your fears of life, where you will have the infinite happiness coming out. So this is our next lecture. Okay, so I'd like to invite questions now.
Geshe,
Yes.
we have our first question. So Carminha is asking, so her question is, um, she's asking about how to help a person who's already aged. She has never met the teachings, so she's not familiar with any kind of teachings, and she's right now suffering a lot with the COVID-19 situation. How to approach, how to help that person?
Okay, this is very practical. For that, what we need to do is that the number one, whatever the person believes in, if the person believes in Jesus Christ, then we should remind her or him of the qualities, compassion, incredibly great compassion of Jesus Christ. This is one thing. And then the number two is that if you know the person so well, and then the person in his or her life, the person no doubt was engaged in many of the good activities like helping others, being kind to others, and so forth. We have to let the person remember those. You have to remind the person of the good things the person did in his or her life, and then the person's mind will feel the ease that okay. And then we can tell the person that your good deeds, with these good deeds, no doubt you'll be with the Lord. Yeah, for those people who believe in Lord or Jesus Christ, and those who believe in the other gods, of course, with the good deeds, with the good deeds, say the according to the Christianity, according to Judaism, according to Islam, and according to many of the other traditions, the good deeds are the basis for one to meet with the Lord. And then those who believe in karma, we can speak about how with your good deeds, they are the witness that that you will have you have done something so good that you have that you will have a good result out of this. It will ripen into a good result. So it is our thinking. When we come to hear about your good deeds, the mind will feel lifted up. You'll feel elated. This is so important. And of course, one should also remind if somebody is very pious, then whatever religion, whatever Lord the person believes in, you just bring that image. And particularly, just saying, instead of saying that, think about this Lord, think about this Lord, try to share. If the person if the person is not in a coma state or a vegetative state, then you can tell the person of the stories, remind the person of the stories of the compassionate acts of the Lord.
Thank you very much, Geshe.
Welcome.
So our next question is coming from Alessandra. She's asking what to do when we feel anger, but she's specifically talking about that very moment when anger is triggered inside of us. So, how to react, how to respond to that.
Okay. Tell Alexandra that if I'm in the middle of the anger myself, I don't know how I'm going to act. Okay, so basically the point is that when the Alexander, so not Alexander, when the anger is at its peak, it's very difficult to manage. But the two things to keep in mind. To keep okay, now at the moment, Alexander, you are not angry, so now you can think of this. When I become angry, what should I be doing? This is very important. So for that, there are two things. One is one is that at least what I do is that the short term, long term. Short term is that I must I must not express the anger, physical and verbal. Physical and verbal, I should control it. Mind is very difficult to control, but physical and verbal is easier to be controlled. And verbal, for example, outsider and the family, outsider is more easier to be controlled. In the family, it's less easier to be controlled. To your mother, you easily shout. So the point is number one, the immediate measure is right from the beginning. Keep in mind that I should control my physical and verbal. At least this is one thing that we have to do. And then in the actual event of the anger, although the anger is already at its peak, but physically and verbally, try to be mindful that I should not act physically and verbally. This is step one. Then the number two is the long term. The long term, see the anger as a sign of weakness. It is not a sign of strength. Keep this in mind. So prove yourself. So when somebody is angry, you think that I'm strong. I'm strong. Actually, this anger is a sign of weakness. So why should you tell other people that I'm weak? It's a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of strength. For example, if you chase a dog, with a stick, the dog will run, keep running, keep running, keep running. And finally, when the dog is cornered, on the corner of the house, at the corner of the house, then it was finding that there's no place to run. Then what will the dog do? The dog will attack you. So this is anger. So anger is a sign of weakness. Only when the dog feels vulnerable, then the dog responds by attacking you. So this is a sign of vulnerability. You don't see you don't see any other alternative. This is what everybody can do, even the dog can do. So this is a sign of your weakness. Only when you feel vulnerable, only when you're weak, then you do it. So this is not how the wise people, this is not how the strong people will behave. Strong people will behave in a very different way, where the your goal, the what you feel like, what you want is accomplished and without side effect. Whereas anger, you will not get what you want, and there's lots of side effects there. This is only what the unwise people will do. So keep in mind that, okay, this is a sign of my being unwise. This is a sign of my being very weak. I'm not. This is a sign of weakness, not a sign of strength. I should be strong. I should tell my. If you really want to make your enemy, or somebody who dislikes you, if you really want to make the person jealous of you, you should show your strength, not your weakness. And in many cases, anger can be subsided if you're able to put yourself in the shoes of the other person. Once, once in my office, there was one elderly gentleman who must be in his late 70s. He came to my office. He lives in Delhi. Then he has nothing to nothing to do with me. So simply came there, and I was very busy. I have lots of work, and he was there. He has nothing to say. He just wanted to be with me. And then he was saying, Gisela, Gisela. Then I could not do my work. So I was indicating that I cannot say get out. So I was indicating to him. I was indicating to him that, okay, I have a lot of work to do. And then he sensed it. Then he said that, okay, Gisela, I know that you're very busy. From tomorrow, is it possible that I can sit with you for 2 minutes every day? I feel so happy. Then okay, his 2 minutes is going to be like half an hour, no doubt. So, but still, I said that, okay, yes, still I'm very busy with my work. Then he said, okay, Gisela, now I like to go out. I'll go to the Lodi Park. There is the park nearby our place, Lodi Park, and I'll go to do meditation. I said, very good, very good. I was very happy, very good. Then he said, okay, Sheila, tell me, what meditation? Tell me in one word, what meditation should I do? So I said, compassion. Then he said, thank you. He left, and again he came back. He said that no, he's very successful. So finally he wants my time, and he's getting the time. So what he said was, Gisela, in the Lodi garden, the compassion works so good in Lodi garden, but it doesn't work in the traffic. So then I said, why it doesn't work in traffic? Because in the traffic he rides bike, two-wheeler bike. When I ride bike, somebody cuts, then I become so angry, no compassion. So what should I do at that point? So this is what we said. Then I said, okay, put yourself in the shoes of the other person. So the other person who was cutting you, that person might have his very young daughter, who was like age 5, age 3, age 4, 5, 6, in school, where all the other children already left with their parents, and this girl is left in the school waiting for the father, and now the father is in hurry. So if you think of that, then you will say that please go, please go, please go. You will in fact they help the other person. So if you are able to put yourself in the shoes of other people, your anger will subside. Instead, compassion will grow. This is a very precious practice. Particularly, I would request each and every one of you to put yourself in the shoes of your mother. The first person who in most cases suffer is the mother, because she loves you so much and you take for granted mother's love, and you easily shout at her. So this is what happens, and in some cases to your father also. So that I plead you to put yourself in the shoes of the mother, how much she took care of you when you make mistakes when you were a young child. She just gladly taught you how to overcome mistake. She did not really slap you, scold you, throw you. No. So keep this in mind that now she's making these mistakes or he's making these mistakes not out of deliberate. This is out of the not knowing. So therefore, because of the age, because of not knowing, and so forth. So if you put yourself in their shoes, then instead of anger, you will be able to you feel the compassion growing inside. This is so precious practice. Let us not forget this. And the first person to receive the benefit is yourself. Your mind will be at ease. You eat any food, then your mother serves you some tea. The tea is very delicious because your anger is not there. The juice, water, whatever you get from the mother serves you, or you serve the mother, and then you help yourself. It's so delicious. With anger, even the best of the food is not delicious. So the first recipient of the benefit of the practice of your compassion is you. So keep this in mind. Be wise, prove yourself as strong by not giving in to anger. Okay, in fact, I did mention that it's the fire of the wisdom. And the wisdom must be supported by samadhi. Two must go together. Not only wisdom, not only samadhi, the final wisdom, for example, let's say that somebody who is so good in studies, somebody who's so good in studies, automatically the person has the power of concentration. Part of concentration is just is anyway the what inseparable part of this quality. Likewise, the wisdom, one of the attributes of this wisdom should be the samadhi. But the samadhi is the assistant, and what actually comes in the front is the wisdom. Wisdom supported by samadhi is the fire which burns the dirts. Because the dirt, the dirt, the dirt is not only the mind moving like this. The dirt is the ignorance. Ignorance is the dirt. Because ignorance is dirt, the counterforce is the wisdom. If the mind is wavering like this, then the counterforce is samadhi. So samadhi is not the main. The main is wisdom. This wisdom must be supported by samadhi.
Okay, Gisela. So, do we have time for one more question?
Yes, yes,
Yes. Okay.
yes.
So, Germana is asking a question about, for instance, the great Marpa. He used um, many skillful.
The idea is yes. The let's say that for somebody to be a Nobel laureate, to become a Buddha, purify the mind to become Buddha, and to become a Nobel laureate in physics, to become a Buddha is much more difficult. Even to become a Nobel laureate in physics, you need teachers. Teachers to teach you Newton physics, Newtonian physics, then the E equals mc square, relativity theory, then quantum physics. We have to know all these things. You need to learn all these things. Only then you can expect to become a Nobel laureate. Otherwise, not. So you need, even for to become a Nobel laureate, you need many teachers to teach you all these concepts. And to become a Buddha, to purify your mind completely, that is even more tedious work. So for that, no doubt, you need a guru or you need a teacher. But on the say in the West, the tendency is that in some cases, I would say that that is very good to be very practical and skeptical. This is very good, very good. And some in the West, they blindly jump to look for gurus. This is very dangerous. Very dangerous. No hurry. No hurry. The best thing is study the dharma well. If somebody is into a dharma, study the concepts well. Study the concepts well. What is what is the mental defilements? What are the mental defilements? You have to know that so well. And how to get rid of these mental defilements. You study the dharma so well, and then once you know the dharma so well, from there you will see who is a good guru. Otherwise, the people can judge the book by the cover. Judging the book by the cover is very dangerous. You don't know what is the content matter of the book. Cover is so nice, it can be very dangerous. So therefore, the point is that you have to have some understanding as to what the content of the book is like. Once you know that, then you will see which is the good guru and the guru which fits you. That's so important. No hurry to look for gurus. Yeah.
So do we have time for one more question, Gisela?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Eldridge is asking about the mind. It's a paradox. So he's saying that he recalls a teaching from the Buddha where the Buddha says, so I'm going to quote, okay? Mind, there is no mind. Mind is luminous. So now, quote ended. So can Geshe bring something about this teaching? So first, he reveals the existence of the mind. Then he refuses it. And right after that, he states that the mind is luminous. The nature of the mind is luminous. So could you please unfold on that subject?
Okay, very good. This is a very good question. Okay, let's say there's no water here. I thought there's. Okay, so let's say that let's say that there's water here. Okay, let's say that this. Okay, let's say this is water there. Okay, if I ask you, okay, there is water, a little bit of water there is fine. Okay, if I ask you what is this, you'll say there's water there. This is an undeniable fact. There's water there. Now, if I show the same thing under the electron microscope, you will see H2O. You will see hydrogen. You will see oxygen. Hydrogen is not water. Oxygen is not water. So, on that level, on the elementary particle level, on the atomic level, you see that there's no water there. Now, if I ask you, is there water? If you're looking at through electron microscope, you will see that there is no water there. Okay. Now, from this, if you learn this concept so well, so first you see the water from distance, from close inspection, you see that the water is not there. This is another reality. If I ask you, which is the reality? This being water is reality, or this being just electrons, protons, neutrons is reality? Most of you will say that both are realities. Both are correct. Which means that it depends on how you look at it. If you look at it from distance without close analysis, you will see there's water. If you look at it from close analysis, you will see that this is just electrons, protons, neutrons. There's no water. Both are correct. So first one, there's water. Second time, the second perception, there's no water. So the fact is that what is that? The true nature is the purity. Same, the impure means something which is the added. Something which is added. When something which is added is removed, it becomes pure, luminous. So that is the true nature of the mind, which is luminous, without the solidification, without objectification. The true nature of the mind is luminous. First, there's water from, like the mind. Yes, the first mind is there. Then the mind is not there, because it is like seeing the electrons, protons, neutrons. The mind is not there. Then from this we come to know that the mind comes into being through your mental imputation, not from the object. There's no objectification there from the objectivity there. There's no objectivity from the mind. So what's the true nature of the mind? This is the luminosity. This is the answer. So this is how it involves a little philosophical point, and those of you who are interested in this, we have to study the concept of emptiness and dependent origination, and particularly the emptiness of the mind.
So maybe one last question.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. Maybe last.
Last. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me see. Joanna is asking, when we panic, we feel a lot of fear. And this fear is actually has an unknown source. We don't know where it's coming from. But we know that it's there, and it's very, very scary. How can we proceed? Should we counter that fear in the same way we counter anger?
Okay. In fact, I can see that the questions are very serious.
Então, eu acabei de fazer a pergunta da Joana, né, que ela perguntou se para reagir ao pânico, ao medo, seria o mesmo procedimento da raiva, e o Geshe lá elogiando, dizendo que realmente as perguntas de vocês são muito sérias.
If there are some of these serious questions there, which are very practical and which really need to be addressed, we can, with Mr. Jigmela and Venerable Conte, we can think of organizing another question answer session. This is very important because people these are the practical challenges. So it would be good if we can address some of these questions.
Então, essas perguntas são muito práticas, são perguntas sérias, são perguntas importantes. Daí a gente poderia, por exemplo, organizar uma sessão só para abordar essas questões práticas, o que é muito bom.
And so with this, the becoming panicky for no reason, from your point of view, you are not aware of any specific reasons. So there you cannot really deal the way I talked about the anger. Anger, there's a target there. So the panic can come from various reasons. One is the physiological changes within your body. Physiological changes are related to our brain. This is number one. Then number two is that the panic experience which one been through before. Earlier times when you're young, you might have forgotten it, and then the similar trigger, you now encounter with a similar trigger, and then that memory, you're not aware that it happened once, but the memory, the flashback, and then you can manifest the panic once more. This is also another reason. And then number three can be cumulative. You have some challenging times at this point, another difficult time is cumulative, and then when it manifests in its collective form, it can manifest in the form of panic. So one, if it is too severe, you have to check with the psychiatrist. It's not because there's something wrong with your brain. No, this is not the reason. Because immediate, you must control that with the medication. If it is too severe. Whereas if it is not too severe, then the practice of there are practices. There are practices like the compassion practice, emptiness practice. The two, these practices must be very rational and convincing to you. And some people they say that oh, there's you have to practice tonglen. Tonglen meaning giving your happiness to others, taking your suffering. Sometimes it can have adverse effect. So some people they are not so skilled. In some teachers they are not skilled. They may oh you have to practice tonglen. You have to practice this. Give you happiness to others. Take the suffering. It can make the situation worse. So you should make sure that anybody who teaches you that, if it makes sense, well and good. If it doesn't make sense, stop it. Stop it. You must look for another the way or another teacher. That's so important. If the situation, if the panic is not too severe, it can be solved. It can be solved. Yes.
So, Geshe-la, thank you so much.
Welcome,
It's
welcome.
just every time is more and more enlightening to listen to you. I feel like all your lectures and everything you teach is so well laid out, is so well organized. Your thinking is truly a ray of sun. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you
It's
so
a
much.
big
Thank you.
honor. It's a big honor to be translating your lecture here. So on behalf of Tibet House, I look forward to your next lecture, and then you can teach us how to unblock and cleanse our minds. So